Alright guys, so now we need to access the database with our application, and the first thing I want to do is make these contacts in this table actually come from the database. So we know that this is in contacts.php. Alright, and we're going to use our database class, which is a very simple PDO class. So to do that, in this file we need to first of all include the init file, because that's the file that actually loads our class and config and all that. So include, I want to include core/init.php. Alright, so now we should have access to the database. Alright, so what we want to do is create a database object. So we can do that, say db equals new database. Okay, so now we have this object that we can work with. Alright, and very simple, all we want to do is select all from contacts. Okay, so let's run a query. We'll say db query select all from contacts. And these aren't quotes, these are backticks, and you don't need to use them, but I like to. So now what we need to do is assign the result set. Alright, so we'll say contacts is equal to db result set. Alright, so now we have an array. This contacts variable is an array with all of our contacts. So down here, we want to get rid of all but one table row because we're just going to put it inside a for each loop. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this second one and the third one. Alright, and what we want to do is right before the tr, we want to put our for each loop. So we want to say PHP for each. Alright, let's just end it down here. Okay, so for each contacts as contact, and then we want to fill in our static content here. So the name will be PHP PHP echo contact first name, and I said this was an array. It's actually an object. Okay, we're going to use this contact as an object. That's why we're using this arrow syntax. Alright, so we want the first name and last name. Echo contact first name, and then we'll concatenate a space, and then we'll do contact last name. Okay, so that should give us the names. So let's just make sure that this is alright. Good. So now you can see the names are coming from the database. The rest of these are static. We need to change these. So let's go back to our loop and just replace some things here. Okay, the phone number. This will be echo contact phone. And let me just copy that. Next we have email. Address. This will be address 1. And we want to say if there's an address 2, then put that in as well. So I'm going to put another list and say if contact address 2, then we're just going to echo it. Alright, next we want the city. state, and zip code. Alright. Okay, here we have the group, contact group. Okay. And the edit and delete buttons we're going to do in a little bit. So I just want to check this. We'll save it. Alright, so now that sorry about that. So now you can see that all the information is now coming from the database. So that's good. Now edit is we're going to have quite a bit to do for that. We need to basically have a form underneath our link for the modal. We have it done for the add contact, but we need to do it for each edit button as well. So I want to do that after, but right now what I want to do is make it so that we can add a contact. Alright, so let's go back. Let's go to index, and we have the add form right here. So I want to add an attribute here. I want to add an ID, and it's going to be called add contact. The action can go just to this page because we're going to catch it and then deal with it in jQuery. And we just want to say that the method is going to be post. Okay, I think everything else is okay. Actually, no, we need to enter our names for our inputs. So we need input name, first name, whoop, that should be last name. Okay, email, phone, and you should really try to keep these names, have them be the same as the database field name for them. Contact group is going to be name equals contact group. City. Okay, city, and this should not be email. This should be text and placeholder. Enter city. Okay, next we have state. So select name equals state. Okay, zip. It's going to be zip code. And then notes, text area is going to have a name. Notes. Okay, and then the submit button will give a name as well, called submit. Alright, so now that we have our names, we can go to script.js, and we want to add inside of the ready function, right under show contacts, say add contact, and we're going to do document dot on submit. Okay, and then we want to put the name of the form, or the ID of the form, which is add contact. Okay, so basically we're just saying when it's submitted, we want to run this function. Okay, so when it's submitted, we want to show the loader image. What is this? Loader image dot show. All right, then we want to post data from form. All right, so we're going to use this post function, jQuery, and then inside of here we're going to say add contact.php. That's the file that we're going to post to, which is going to add all the data to our database. And then we want to serialize. So this object dot serialize. Okay, and then we'll move this and say dot done. And then inside here we're going to say function, pass in data, so we can use that. Alright, and I'm just going to console log the data. I mean, you don't need to do that, I just like to, just for debugging. And then what we want, remember this form is inside of a modal. So we want that to close after the form submitted. Okay, so we can use the API here, the foundation API. So add modal, which I think we need to change it from my modal to add modal. Dot foundation, and we want to pass in reveal and then close. Alright, and finally we want to show the contacts after all this happens. Alright, and then down here, actually let's put a semicolon there, and then I think, oh no, this is right, yeah. After this we want to return false. Okay, save that, and let's go to index, and for the modal, where is it? Where is it? Oh, right here. We have this link with the add contact button. We want to change this ID right here to add modal because we're going to have an edit as well, and we just want them named separately. Okay, and then change the ID of the div to add modal. Alright, so save that, and then we'll go back to our root and go to add contact. Okay, so get rid of that. So this is the page that it's going to post to, and I'm just going to paste some code into here. Alright, and this is nothing we haven't seen before. We've used this PDO class before. We're including the initializer, creating a new database object. We're creating a query, which is an insert. Okay, so we're inserting into contacts, and then just all the fields. Then we're going to have values, and then all the placeholders. Okay, so and then down here we're going to bind those fields. Okay, so we're going to bind first name, all these, to post, to whatever is sent with the form, and then we're going to just execute it. If it's executed successfully, we'll get a contact was added, and I believe these will show up in the console. Alright, so that's good. Save that, and let's give it a shot. Might need to do some debugging. Add contact. Just put in some random stuff here. Alright, so let's give that a shot. And no. Alright, so I'm not sure what happened. Oh, undefined index group, add contact, line 21. Add contact, line 21. Oh, we have post group. This should be contact group. Alright, so let's try that again. Alright, so let's reload. And we'll go to add contact. And whatever, that's good enough. Let's just make sure it works. Alright, so there I am. I didn't submit a state, so we can do some validation if we want. But now that we know this is working, you can see down here we have contact was added, and then it's just going to show the contacts after it's added. Okay, so it's added really nicely. There's no page refresh. It just kind of pops in, which is really the great thing about Ajax, is that we don't have to do nasty slow page loads. It just pops right in, which is great. You could make this application, of course you could make it without Ajax or without any kind of client-side programming, but it just makes it look and feel a little better and faster. Alright, so I'm actually going to delete that entry from the database just because it's ugly. Okay, so here it is. Delete. Alright, so we have our select working. It shows us the contacts, and we have our add contact button working. Alright, so in the next video we want to get into editing, being able to edit each listing as well as delete listings.